property matters. Over the last few weeks, we have been showcasing some of the most beautiful homes from across the country. In fact, these are homes that have been featured in the coffee table book, 50 most beautiful houses in India. And I'm sitting in one of them. This is in Goregaon in Mumbai, very close to Film City. It's a home that belongs to Pradeep and Preeti Gupta. Of course, Preeti is a commodity expert, and the person who's responsible for the creation of this home is a representative of ZZ Architects. Her name is Krupa. So, really, I want to ask you, what was the brief that you gave Krupa when you started out? Because obviously you had a home over here and you didn't want to raise it to the ground. So, what was it that you told Krupa?
We wanted a bungalow feel, so we wanted the garden to be a part of the house. And I think second important thing was that we wanted a neat, clean, uncluttered and a manageable, maintainable, beautiful house.
Were you able to create that, Krupa? This was the overriding brief, a fairly generic one. It wasn't that much of a challenge. The challenge, I think, was in the fact that there was a structure here. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, that was a huge challenge because it's very difficult to not break it down and do something. But that's also purely possible when you have friends whom you're designing for. So it makes it a fun process. And when we took up the project, Zubin and myself were very excited because you had this huge lawn space ahead, which is very rare in a city like Bombay. And when they said they wanted an open house, a nice bungalow-like feel, the initial process was to actually start opening up as much as you could. We had a height restriction here because they were all existing spaces. But we also had an advantage that we could go horizontal. Right. So the whole concept of the space was to add in glazed surfaces which ran throughout the periphery of the house. So when you see this area in the evening, you will see that the lawn almost looks like a part of the living space. Right. So you're not confined to any space at one point in time.
And I'm also seeing a lot of glass being used in this home.
I think the whole idea behind that was that we've been all along living in a house which had a lot of walls, again not allowing the nature to come in. And we were very clear on that, that we wanted a lot of green spaces to be, part of the house.
So we are inside the home right now. Preeti, of course, is showing us around. Pradeep is not here, but Preeti, do tell us, we're seeing a lot of wood around here.
We wanted something which was very, extremely neat. Not too much of, not too many things happening, maybe a very elegant but a cozy home.
Wood also gives you that warm kind of feel, but it's also a man's kind of color. So when a lady like Preeti wants to set up a home and wood is the big theme, the browns that we're using, muted tones, Krupa. Did you tell her otherwise, or did you subscribe to the view that Preeti wanted, that, the nature should kind of fall into the house as well once you enter?
Yeah, see, that was the central idea of the space, that you have to have the nature within. Yes. And it started off as a brief like that. And the space has a huge structural grid which we had to retain. Mm-hmm. And cladding that, we wanted to use a material which was not too heavy.
That's right.
So we decided on using wood.
Obviously, this is a challenge when you have your columns, your entire ceiling, etc., everything in place. To turn it into a home that is completely out of the box, which you have been able to create, a beautiful home that makes it to a coffee table book as well. How exactly do you go about it?
See, the point is we used all the levels, we used all the existing grids to sort of get spaces within them. Like even if you see the module that's next to you, you have these two columns, but you have a customized ledge which is done in onyx, loose draw units placed within. So they're practical, but at the same time they're very nice to look at.
There would have been a lot more of these challenges, Krupa.
There was this structural grid that comes in here and there's nothing you could do with it. So we wanted to have this separate the conservatory, which was a space that they loved. Mm-hmm. I remember Preeti and Pradeep coming in and saying we want a conservatory in the house because we've got this beautiful lawn and we're not utilizing the space right now. Right. So this area was designed such that you can have a seating space which will be a part of the garden, but it will be covered. Right. So this acts as a sculptural piece which you can see from both the sides.
Right. Tell us more about the conservatory, Preeti. What exactly were you thinking at that point in time? You were hell-bent on having one.
In Bombay, it rains 6 months of the year. So during the rains, the outside spaces were absolutely unusable.
Sure.
And I love the rains. So, on our visits to England, we'd noticed that they would have these conservatories where you could sit inside and watch the rain falling on you.
This is an exquisite home, and obviously it's a beautiful home as well, which is why it's made it to that coffee table book that we were talking about. If you have ideas that you'd like to share, spaces that you have designed that you'd like to share with the rest of our viewers, all you have to do is pipe them across to us, these pictures that you take, to propertymatters@utvmoney.com. We'll be back again next week with the country's best property deals and much more. Until then, do take care. Bye-bye.